Realms are weird. Check again. Oh no, I am quite the drifting strand in my home reef, Deeply Considered said with a cheerful wiggle of his lagging end. Data analysis is not a very sought-after position by most ungulates.
But data analysis is a necessity,
Fourth Brother said in surprise as he gently massaged the core of the stressed ungulate.
Second Father says that once a culture progresses far enough that instinct becomes insufficient, that everyone we know of has developed formal data analysis in some form or another. Even the Gathering, as you know, they almost can do it on instinct, have to preserve data in fibrous networks.
Quite, Deeply Considers agrees, emitting a happy vibrating sound he claimed to have learned from a predator species the humans were particularly fond of. We all have to learn to do it, but very, very few ungulates ever learned to like it. In fact, Deeply Considers paused his conversation to flip over and expose his other half to the masseuse's ministrations. I do believe that as of the last comparative population productive effort census, we are rated as having the lowest rates of native data analysis in the populated galaxy, he said with a happy hum. The shallow pool he was in was filled with a liquid that wasn't water on some technical medical level, but it was the perfect temperature to soothe out stressed appendages, and Fourth Brother was a wonder with his fingers. He couldn't match the controlled power of a human, of course, but even the most stressed ungulate rarely needed all that power.
Well,
Fourth Brother said with a wry click of his mandibles, if this is the result of a pursuit of a career in data analysis, it's probably wise of your species to avoid it in general. He gave a tweak of a particularly stressed portion of Deeply Consider's core, and the ungulate flexed his appendages in a gesture that loosely translated that he couldn't argue the point. Now, Fourth Brother said, flaring his pseudo-frill a stern yellow, as this is the 5th appointment you have needed to schedule this cycle, I will need to inspect your working area for the situation that is causing the problem. Come now. Oh, Deeply Considered said in a cheerful tone as he slipped down through the floor exit. There's no need for an inspection. I know exactly the problem.
Then why do you not resolve it? Fourth Brother asked.
The requests are in the queue, of course. Deeply Considered gestured up at him from the stream under the solid floor as they moved down the hallway. The problem is the dry land computer controls are only rated water resistant. I can drip all over them all I want, but I can't actually submerge them for any length of time. Those handy undercurrents aside, this base wasn't really built with ungulates in mind. Fourth Brother rubbed his mandibles together thoughtfully. It made sense. In this sector of space, the ungulates were newcomers, having arrived several generations after the humans in Shatar had begun joint efforts. If the necessary equipment were already on the way there was nothing Fourth Brother could really do, but it wouldn't hurt to inspect the workplace anyway. They reached the data analysis shared workspace eventually, and Fourth Brother was mildly surprised to see 2 humans in the area this late in the day. From the way their impossibly broad shoulders hunched over their workstations, he speculated that they could both use his services. However, he was here for another purpose. Deeply Considers indicated his workspace and began to explain how he kept his resting pool just under the data surface entry to avoid accidents. Sean! One human suddenly called out, frustration drawing the rounded vocalized portion of the name out unnaturally. You need to resend the document! I already sent it! The other human, presumably Sean, replied in an aggravated tone. Search your bloody spam clusters! I did! The first human insisted, his own voice shifting from tones of frustration to tones of aggression. It isn't there! You must have forgotten to send it! It's right here in my sent cluster! Sean retorted. I'm looking at it! Check! Fine! The human snapped out. I'll do it! Again! Fourth Brother instinctively put a hand down to soothe Deeply Considers. Human confrontation was somewhat legendary. He didn't think that this one was going to get physical, but as the larger sapient, he had a duty to grab Deeply Considers and run to the nearest portal to the undercurrent, was some distance away. However, the second stretched out and the first human didn't speak up again. Deeply Considers was clearly forming a question gesture when Sean called out. Found it, didn't you? He asked. The first human, his voice distinctly less aggressive, made an indistinguishable grunt in reply. What was that? Sean asked. His tone was different now. Fourth Brother thought he recognized that what First Sister told him was the mocking tone. It was right where you said it would be. the first human snapped. There was another long pause, and then the first human spoke again in a tight tone. "Thank you." Sean gave a small chuckle and responded with a word Fourth Brother didn't know, but his tone was relaxed and the pheromone profile in the room noticeably softened. Whatever that last word was, it had soothed the first human's offense. After another long moment, the first human emitted a wry chuckle. Deeply Considers gestured that they should probably remove themselves, and Fourth Cousin coiled an antenna in agreement. Once out in the main passageway, he tilted his head down to look at the undulate below him, and he flexed his fingers, remembering the stress damage built up in the undulate's fibers. "Do you think," Fourth Brother suggested cautiously, "that perhaps your stress is not entirely due to the physical limits of your workstation?" "Well, yes," the undulate agreed with a depreciating gesture that involved a good third of his appendages. "But what can you do about humans?"
"My first cousin is the company mediator,"
Fourth Brother said with a ripple of his pseudo-frill.
"We'll see what she has to suggest."
Humans Are Weird, I Did the Math, available on Indiegogo, February and March of 2026. If you want more absurd humans and befuddled aliens, get your copy now.